In the year 2147, humanity had spread its reach far beyond Earth. Colonies dotted Mars, mining operations thrived on asteroids, and research stations floated in the cold void of space. Yet despite their technological advances, humans still struggled with old problems, wars over resources, greed, and distrust among nations. Among these scattered colonies existed a group known as the Deathworlders. They were not ordinary explorers. They were specialists trained to survive in the harshest environments imaginable. Their base was located on Titan, one of Saturn's moons, where icy winds howled endlessly and sunlight barely reached the surface. The Deathworlders weren't just survivors, they were listeners. For years, they monitored deep space signals, searching for anything unusual. Some believed they were wasting time chasing faint whispers from the stars, but others thought differently. One such believer was Jae-min, a young man with sharp eyes and an even sharper mind. Jae-min wasn't like the rest of his crewmates. While many joined the Deathworlders for adventure or glory, he came because he wanted answers. He spent hours poring over data, analyzing cosmic noise, and piecing together fragments of information that most people dismissed as meaningless static. One evening, as Jae-min sat alone in the dimly lit communications room, something caught his attention. A faint signal, almost buried beneath layers of interference, repeated itself every few minutes. At first it seemed random, a series of clicks and hums, but the more he listened, the more he realized there was a pattern. His heart raced as he adjusted the equipment, fine-tuning the frequencies until the signal became clearer. It wasn't natural. This wasn't some star pulsing or radiation bouncing off a distant planet. Someone, or something, had sent this message deliberately. For weeks, Jae-min worked tirelessly to decode the signal. He barely slept, surviving on caffeine and sheer determination. Finally, after countless failed attempts, he managed to extract a phrase, "Save us, before they return." Those 5 words sent chills down his spine. Who needed saving, and who or what was coming back? The message didn't provide any answers, only questions. But Jae-min knew one thing for certain. This discovery could change everything. He immediately reported his findings to Yoonji, the leader of the Deathworlders. Yoonji was a no-nonsense woman in her early 40s, with short black hair and a commanding presence. She trusted Jae-min's instincts enough to call an emergency meeting with her team. When everyone gathered in the briefing room, Jae-min played the decoded message aloud. The room fell silent as the haunting plea echoed through the speakers. "This changes things," Yoonji said finally, breaking the silence. "If this is real, and I believe it is, we can't ignore it." Her team nodded in agreement, though not without reservations. There were risks involved. Deep space missions required careful planning, and responding to an unknown distress call could lead them into danger. Still, curiosity outweighed caution. Over the next few days, the team prepared for their journey. They would travel to the source of the signal, a distant exoplanet named Xylos 9, located near the edge of explored space. Joining Jae-min and Yoonji were 2 other key members of the team. First was Hyun-soo, an engineer with a knack for fixing anything mechanical. Hyun-soo had grown up tinkering with broken gadgets in his family's workshop, and now he applied those skills to keep the Deathworlders' equipment running smoothly. Then there was Soo-bin, a biologist specializing in alien ecosystems. Soo-bin had always been fascinated by life forms unlike anything found on Earth, and she saw this mission as an opportunity to study something truly extraordinary. As preparations continued, tensions began to rise within the group. Not everyone shared Yoonji's confidence about the mission. Some worried the signal might be a trap set by hostile aliens. Others wondered if Earth's governments would approve such a risky endeavor. Despite these concerns, Yoonji remained steadfast. "We're Deathworlders," she reminded them. "Surviving impossible odds is what we do best." Finally, the day of departure arrived. The team boarded their ship, the Horizon, a sleek vessel designed for long-distance travel. As they left Titan behind, Jae-min couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into uncharted territory, not just physically, but morally. Were they doing the right thing by answering the call, or were they walking straight into a disaster? Days turned into weeks, as the horizon sailed through the vast emptiness of space. During this time, the team grew closer, sharing stories and speculating about what awaited them on Xylos 9. Jamin often stayed up late, staring out at the stars, replaying the mysterious message in his head, "Save us," before they return. The words haunted him, filling him with both dread and determination. When they finally approached Xylos 9, the sight took their breath away. The planet shimmered under twin suns, its surface covered in towering crystalline forests that sparkled. Like diamonds, it looked almost too beautiful to harbor danger. Yet as the horizon entered orbit, sensors detected troubling signs. The atmosphere contained high levels of toxic gases, making it uninhabitable for humans without protective gear. Worse still, scans revealed evidence of devastation, scorched landscapes, collapsed structures, and traces of advanced technology lying dormant. Yunji gave the order to land. As the ship descended, the team suited up, ready to face whatever mysteries lay ahead. Little did they know, their arrival marked the beginning of an adventure that would test their courage, challenge their beliefs, and ultimately rewrite history. With hearts pounding and minds racing, the Deathworlders stepped onto the alien soil of Xylos 9, unaware of the trials and alliances that awaited them. The moment the Deathworlders stepped onto the surface of Xylos 9, they were struck by its strange beauty. Towering crystalline trees stretched toward the twin suns, their shimmering branches casting kaleidoscopic shadows on the ground. The air was thick with an eerie stillness, broken only by the faint hum of their suits' life support systems. Despite the planet's toxic atmosphere, which forced them to wear advanced protective gear, there was something mesmerizing about this alien world. It felt both inviting and foreboding, like a dream slipping into a nightmare. Yunji led the team forward cautiously, her sharp eyes scanning the surroundings for any signs of movement. "Stay alert," she said over the comms system. Her voice was calm but firm, a reminder that they were walking into the unknown. Behind her, Jamin adjusted the settings on his handheld scanner, searching for clues about the civilization that had once thrived here. Hyun-soo carried a toolkit slung over his shoulder, ready to fix anything that might go wrong. Subin brought up the rear, her gaze fixed on the unusual plant-like structures scattered across the landscape. They didn't look like ordinary plants. They pulsed faintly with bioluminescent light, as if alive. As they ventured deeper into the crystalline forest, the team began to notice remnants of a once great society. Broken buildings made of sleek, organic materials blended seamlessly with the environment, as though grown rather than constructed. Strange symbols adorned the walls, glowing faintly even in the daylight. These markings seemed to tell stories, histories, warnings, or perhaps prayers. But none of the humans could decipher them yet. "This place feels abandoned," Subin murmured, her voice tinged with awe. She knelt beside one of the glowing symbols, running her gloved fingers over its smooth surface. "Whoever lived here left in a hurry." "Or they didn't leave at all," Hyun-soo replied grimly. He pointed to what appeared to be skeletal remains partially buried in the dirt nearby. The bones were long and slender, unlike anything found on Earth. Whoever these creatures were, they weren't human. Jamin approached the remains, snapping photos with his scanner. "We need to figure out who these people were and why they're gone." His tone was urgent, driven by the same curiosity that had led him to decode the distress signal in the first place. Yunji nodded. "Keep moving. If we want answers, we'll find them at the center of this settlement." They pressed onward, navigating through the labyrinthine ruins. Every step revealed more evidence of a sophisticated culture. There were statues carved from translucent stone, depicting tall, reptilian beings with iridescent scales and elongated limbs. Intricate murals covered entire walls, showing scenes of harmony between these creatures and their environment. But amidst the beauty, there were also scars, burn marks, shattered structures, and dark streaks that looked suspiciously like dried blood. After hours of exploration, they reached what appeared to be the heart of the city. A massive dome loomed. Ahead, its surface cracked but still intact. Inside, they hoped to find records or technology that could shed light on the planet's history and the mysterious distress call. Entering the dome proved challenging. The doors were sealed shut, fused together by some kind of energy blast. Hyun-soo worked quickly, using his tools to pry them open. When they finally stepped inside, they were greeted by darkness. Yoonji activated the lights on her helmet, illuminating the interior. What they saw took their breath away. Rows upon rows of consoles lined the circular chamber, their screens flickering weakly. In the center stood a large pedestal, etched with the same glowing symbols they'd seen outside. Subin immediately went to work examining the consoles, while Jae-min focused on the pedestal. As he touched it, the symbols lit up brighter, projecting holographic images into the air. "These must be archives," Jae-min said excitedly. "If we can access them, we might learn everything we need to know." But before they could delve deeper, a low rumble echoed through the dome. Startled, the team turned toward the sound. From the shadows emerged a group of figures, tall, slender, and unmistakably alien. Their scales shimmered in the dim light, and their wide, unblinking eyes locked onto the intruders. For a tense moment, no one moved. Then one of the aliens stepped forward. Unlike the others, he wore tattered robes and leaned heavily on a staff. His presence commanded respect, even fear. "You've come," he said in halting, accented English. "You answered our call." Eunji raised a hand, signaling her team to stay calm. "Who are you?" she asked cautiously. "I am Kale, elder of the Valens." His voice was weary but steady. "We have waited long for help. Too long." Over the next hour, Kale explained the tragedy that had befallen his people. Centuries ago, the Valons had lived in peace, thriving alongside the natural world. But then, invaders came, beings called the Zirkons, who sought to conquer and destroy. The Zirkons attacked without mercy, wiping out entire cities and leaving devastation in their wake. Before departing, they vowed to return and finish what they started. "We sent out countless messages, hoping someone would hear us," Kale continued. "Most gave up hope. But you came." Subin listened intently, her scientific mind racing with questions. "Why didn't you fight back? With your technology, surely you could have defended yourselves." Kale shook his head sadly. "Our ways were different. We valued creation over destruction. By the time we understood the threat, it was too late." Hyun-soo frowned. "And now? What do you expect us to do?" Kyle hesitated before answering. "Help us rebuild. Or if that is impossible, help us escape. We cannot face the Zirkons alone. Again." The request hung heavy in the air. Yoonji glanced at her team, reading the conflicting emotions on their faces. Jae-min looked eager to assist, inspired by the resilience of the Valons despite their suffering. Subin shared his enthusiasm, already imagining how much she could learn from studying their biology and culture. Hyun-soo, however, seemed skeptical. Rebuilding an alien society, or evacuating it, was no small task, especially given the limited resources they had brought with them. "We'll need time to think this through," Yoonji told Kale diplomatically, "but rest assured, we won't abandon you." For the first time since their arrival, the Valons showed signs of relief. Kyle bowed deeply, gratitude evident in his expression. "Thank you. You honor us." As the team left the dome to discuss their next steps, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Yoonji knew the decision wouldn't be easy. Helping the Valens meant committing to a mission far greater than any they had undertaken before. Failure could cost lives, not just theirs, but those of the survivors who depended on them. Yet turning away felt equally unthinkable. Back at their landing site, the team gathered around a portable workstation, reviewing data and debating options. Jae-min argued passionately for staying. "This is why we're here," he insisted. "To make a difference. To show that humanity can rise above itself," Hyun-soo countered, his practical side taking over. "We're not equipped for this. Even if we wanted to help, we don't have the supplies or manpower. We'd be setting ourselves and them up for failure." Subin tried to mediate. "Maybe there's a middle ground. We can start small, focus on immediate needs, purify the air, grow food, teach them how to defend themselves." Yoonji listened carefully, weighing each perspective. Finally, she spoke. "We'll stay, for now. But we need to set boundaries. We'll assess what we can realistically achieve and go from there. And if things get too dangerous, we retreat. Understood? Everyone nodded, though uncertainty lingered. They knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges. But as they prepared to begin their work, one thing became clear. Their presence on Xylos 9 had already changed the course of history, for better or worse. The days that followed were filled with hard work and careful planning. The Deathworlders and the Valens began working side by side, united by a shared goal: survival. From the moment they decided to stay, Yunji divided her team into groups, assigning each member a specific task based on their skills. Hyunsu focused on repairing and upgrading the Valon's damaged technology, while Subin explored ways to adapt Earth's agricultural techniques to Xylos 9's unique environment. Jaemin spent hours studying the glowing symbols and archives inside the dome, hoping to uncover more about the planet's history and perhaps find clues about how to defend against the Zircons. Kale, the Valen elder, proved to be an invaluable guide. Though his body was frail, his mind remained sharp. He introduced the humans to ancient rituals meant to honor the spirits of those who had fallen during the invasion. These ceremonies took place in the evenings, under the soft glow of the twin suns setting beyond the crystalline forest. The Valens gathered around a large stone altar, chanting prayers in their melodic language. The Deathworlders watched respectfully, unsure if they should participate but moved by the solemnity of the moment. "It's beautiful," Subin whispered to Lyra, a young Valon healer who had taken an interest in teaching her about local plant life. "Do you think it helps?" Lyra smiled faintly, her iridescent scales shimmering in the fading light. "It reminds us we are not alone. Even when hope feels lost, our ancestors walk beside us." Subin nodded thoughtfully. She didn't fully understand the spiritual beliefs of the Valons, but she appreciated their optimism. It reminded her why she had joined the Deathworlders in the first place, to help others no matter how different they might seem. Meanwhile, Hyunsu worked tirelessly alongside a group of Valen engineers. Together, they repaired filtration systems capable of purifying the toxic air into breathable oxygen. The process was slow and frustrating at times. Many of the machines were outdated or beyond repair, but Hyunsu refused to give up. "If we can get these running," he explained to Kale one afternoon, "your people will have a fighting chance." Kale placed a clawed hand on Hyunsu's shoulder. "Your determination gives us strength. We thank you." Despite the progress being made, tensions simmered beneath the surface. Not everyone among the Deathworlders believed helping the Valons was worth the risk. Some argued that their primary mission should be gathering information for Earth, not investing resources in rebuilding an alien society. Others worried about what would happen when the Zircons returned. Would the humans be caught in the crossfire? Could they really trust the Valons? One evening, as the team gathered around a portable workstation to review their efforts, these concerns boiled over. "We're spreading ourselves too thin," said Hyunsu bluntly. "Every day we stay here puts us in more danger. What happens if the Zircons show up tomorrow? We don't even know if we can fight them." Yunji crossed her arms, her expression stern. "I won't deny the risks, but leaving now would mean abandoning everything we've accomplished. Do you really want to turn our backs on these people after promising to help?" Jaemin jumped in before Hyunsu could respond. "This is bigger than just us," he argued. "If we succeed, we'll prove that humanity can make a difference, not just for ourselves, but for other species too. Isn't that why we became Deathworlders?" Hyunsu sighed, rubbing his temples. "I'm not saying we should abandon them. I'm saying we need to be realistic. If things go south, we won't have a way out." Subin spoke softly, trying to ease the tension. "Maybe we don't need all the answers right now. Let's focus on what we can do. Every step forward matters." Her words seemed to calm the group, though unease lingered. Eunji ended the meeting with a firm directive. "We'll keep going, for now, but if the situation changes, we reassess. Agreed?" Everyone nodded reluctantly, though it was clear opinions remained divided. As the days passed, bonds between the humans and Valons grew stronger. Jaemin continued deciphering the glowing symbols, piecing together fragments of the Valons' past. He discovered stories of prosperity and peace, followed by warnings of invaders from beyond the void. One passage particularly caught his attention. "Beware the shadows that consume light. They come not for conquest, but for annihilation." Jaemin shared this discovery with Yunji, who frowned deeply. "Sounds like the Zircons aren't just conquerors," she mused. "They're exterminators." Subin shuddered at the thought. "Then we need to prepare for the worst. If they come back, it won't be to negotiate." While Jaemin unraveled the mysteries of the archives, Subin collaborated closely with Lyra to create sustainable food sources. Using samples of native flora, they developed nutrient-rich algae that could grow in the planet's harsh conditions. The Veilons were amazed by the results, praising Subin's ingenuity. In return, Lyra taught her about medicinal plants that thrived in the crystalline forests, expanding Subin's knowledge of alien biology. Yun-Su, meanwhile, achieved a breakthrough with the air filtration systems. By combining Earth technology with Veilan engineering, he managed to construct a prototype capable of supporting small groups of survivors. While it wasn't enough to sustain the entire population, it provided a lifeline for those most vulnerable. Yet, despite these successes, cracks began to form within the alliance. During one of his routine checks, Hyun-Soo stumbled upon evidence suggesting the Veilans might have inadvertently provoked the Zircons centuries ago. Hidden deep within the archives was a record of experiments conducted on captured alien species, including early encounters with the Zircons themselves. The Veilans had studied them, seeking to understand their advanced technology. When the Zircons retaliated, the conflict escalated into full-scale war. Horrified, Hyun-Soo confronted Kale about the discovery. "You started this," he accused, angrily. "You experimented on them, and now they're coming back to finish you off." Kale lowered his head, shame etched onto his scaled face. "It is true. Our ancestors made grave mistakes. We sought knowledge without considering the consequences. But we have paid dearly for those errors, and learned humility in the process." Hyun-Soo clenched his fists, torn between anger and pity. "Doesn't change the fact that we're risking our lives because of your past." Word of the discovery spread quickly, causing unrest among both humans and Veilans. Some Deathworlders questioned whether aiding the Veilans was morally justified, given their role in sparking the conflict. Others argued that focusing on blame wouldn't solve anything. It was better to look ahead and prepare for the future. Amidst the turmoil, Jaemin found himself reflecting on the nature of forgiveness and redemption. He approached Yun-Ji late one night, finding her staring out at the glowing forest. "What do you think?" he asked quietly. "Should we still help them, knowing what they did?" Yun-Ji didn't answer immediately. Instead, she gazed at the stars visible through gaps in the canopy. Finally, she spoke. "History is messy. Everyone makes mistakes, humans included. What matters is how we move forward. If we can help the Veilans rise above their past, maybe we can learn something about ourselves too." Her words resonated with Jaemin, reinforcing his belief in the mission. As dawn broke over Xylos 9, casting the crystalline trees in golden light, the Deathworlders pressed onward, determined to build a future worth fighting for, even if the odds remained uncertain. The uneasy peace on Xylos 9 was shattered one fateful morning. The skies, which had been a brilliant canvas of blues and purples under the twin suns, suddenly darkened. Thick clouds rolled in, blotting out the light. At first, the Deathworlders thought it might be a natural phenomenon, a storm or some other environmental quirk of the planet. But then they heard it, a low, ominous hum that seemed to vibrate through the very air itself. Yunji was the first to react. "Everyone, get to cover!" she shouted into her comm system. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the growing tension. The team scrambled to find shelter as massive ships descended from the heavens, their sleek, metallic hulls glinting ominously, even in the dim light. These were no ordinary vessels. They exuded power, their presence alone enough to send shivers down the spines of both humans and Veilans alike. The invaders had returned. From the ships emerged swarms of mechanical drones, each equipped with deadly weapons. They moved with precision, scanning the area before unleashing chaos. Explosions rocked the surface of Xylos 9, sending shards of crystalline trees flying in every direction. The once beautiful forest was reduced to rubble within minutes. Panic, Spread among the survivors as the Zircon's leader, Overmind Zexar broadcast a chilling message across the planet. "Surrender now," boomed Zexar's cold, mechanical voice. "Resistance is futile." Kyle, the Valon elder, stood defiant despite the overwhelming force arrayed against them. "We will not bow to you again," he declared, his voice trembling but resolute. With those words, the battle began. The Deathworlders sprang into action, using every skill they had honed over years of training. Yunji quickly devised a plan. Their only chance was to disable the Zircon mothership, the source of the invasion's coordination. Jaemin would hack into its systems remotely, while Hyun-Soo planted explosives inside the ship to cripple its core. Subin and Lyra worked together to repurpose Valon technology into makeshift weapons, arming the survivors for guerrilla warfare. Jaemin set up a portable workstation near the edge of the ruins, his fingers flying over the keyboard as he attempted to breach the mothership's defenses. Sweat dripped down his face, but he didn't stop. Every second counted. "I'm in," he finally announced, his voice cracking with exhaustion. "Now we just need to—" Before he could finish, an explosion nearby sent debris flying toward him. Yunji tackled him to the ground just in time, shielding him from harm. "Stay focused," she barked, helping him back to his feet. Jaemin nodded, forcing himself to concentrate despite the chaos around them. Meanwhile, Hyun-Soo prepared to infiltrate the mothership. Armed with a small device designed to bypass security systems, he made his way toward the landing site. The path was fraught with danger. Drones patrolled the area, firing indiscriminately at anything that moved. Hyun-Soo relied on his engineering skills to stay alive, disabling several drones by targeting their weak points. When he finally reached the ship, he found the entrance sealed tight. "No problem," he muttered to himself, pulling out his toolkit. Minutes later, the door slid open with a hiss. Inside, the corridors were eerily silent, lit only by pulsating red lights. Hyun-Soo moved cautiously, planting explosives along critical junctions. His heart pounded as he worked, knowing that one wrong move could mean disaster. Back on the ground, Subin and Lyra led a group of Valon fighters in hit-and-run attacks against the drones. Using the modified weapons they had created, they managed to take down several enemy units. But the Zircons were relentless, their numbers seemingly endless. Just when it seemed like all hope was lost, Subin spotted an opportunity. One of the larger drones carried a payload of explosives intended for a final strike against the survivors. If they could hijack it and redirect its course, they might be able to destroy a significant portion of the invading force. "Lyra, follow me," Subin called, sprinting toward the drone. Together, they climbed aboard, disabling its control systems and programming it to self-destruct mid-air. As the drone exploded spectacularly, taking dozens of smaller units with it, cheers erupted from the Valons below. For the first time since the invasion began, there was a glimmer of hope. But the victory came at a cost. During the skirmish, Hyun-Soo was gravely injured while planting the last explosive inside the mothership. A stray blast caught him off guard, knocking him to the ground. Blood seeped through his suit, but he refused to give up. "Just a little farther," he gasped, dragging himself to the final junction. With trembling hands, he activated the detonator and transmitted the signal to Jaemin. "Do it," he whispered before collapsing. Jaemin hesitated for a moment, his eyes filled with fear and grief. Then, steeling himself, he pressed the button. The mothership shuddered violently as explosions tore through its core. Within seconds, the massive vessel broke apart, raining fiery debris onto the battlefield. Without their central command, the remaining drones faltered, giving the defenders a chance to regroup. Seeing their advantage slipping away, Overmind Zexar issued a retreat order. The surviving Zircon ships ascended rapidly, disappearing into the clouds as quickly as they had arrived. Silence fell over Xylos 9, broken only by the sound of distant fires burning in the wreckage. As the dust settled, the survivors gathered to assess the damage. Many had perished in the attack, including Kale, who sacrificed himself to protect a group of young Valans during the height of the battle. His death was mourned deeply, but his legacy lived on in the courage he inspired. Hyun-Soo was rushed to the medical bay where Subin and Lyra worked tirelessly to stabilize him. Though badly wounded, he clung to life, his determination unwavering. We did it, he murmured weakly, managing a faint smile. Didn't we? Yunji placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, we did. Thanks to you. In the aftermath, both humans and Veilons reflected on what they had endured. Bonds forged in the heat of battle ran deeper than ever before. The Deathworlders realized they weren't just fighting for themselves, they were fighting for something greater. And the Veilons, though scarred by loss, vowed to rebuild stronger than ever, guided by the lessons of their past. As they buried their dead and tended to the wounded, a new resolve took root. The Zircons had been driven back, but everyone knew this wasn't the end. It was merely a pause, a brief moment to catch their breath before the next chapter unfolded. The days following the Zircon retreat were heavy, with both relief and sorrow. The survivors of Xylos 9 worked together to clean up the devastation left behind. Crystalline trees lay shattered, their once brilliant glow dulled by ash and smoke. Buildings that had already been damaged beyond repair now crumbled further under the weight of destruction. Yet amidst the ruins, there was a quiet determination. Both humans and Veilons understood they had been given a second chance, a fragile opportunity to rebuild not just their world, but also their futures. Yunji called another meeting with her team, this time near the edge of the forest, where sunlight filtered through gaps in the clouds. Her face was weary, lines etched deeper by exhaustion and grief, but her voice remained steady. "We've done what we came here to do," she began. "But now we face a choice. Do we stay and help the Veilons, recover, or do we return home and let Earth decide the next steps?" Jamin didn't hesitate. "We can't leave now," he said firmly. "There's still so much to learn from the archives, and so much more we can do to help." His eyes gleamed with purpose, fueled by the knowledge that decoding the Veilan history could hold answers not just for Xylos 9, but for humanity as well. Subin nodded in agreement. "I want to stay too. Lyra has taught me so much about their biology and medicine. Together we might find ways to heal not just bodies, but ecosystems." Hyun-Soo, though still recovering from his injuries, chimed in softly. "If you're staying, I'm staying. Someone needs to keep fixing things around here." Despite his pain, he managed a weak smile, earning nods of appreciation from the others. Yunji looked at each of them, pride swelling in her chest. "Then it's settled. Some of us will remain on Xylos 9 to continue our work. Others will go back to Earth to share what we've learned and prepare for whatever comes next." With the decision made, the team split into two groups. Jae-min, Subin, and Hyun-Soo chose to stay, dedicating themselves to rebuilding the planet alongside the Veilons. Yunji would lead the group returning to Earth, carrying stories of courage, unity, and survival. Before departing, she gathered everyone one last time. "You've all made me proud," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "This mission wasn't just about answering a cry for help. It was about proving that even in the darkest moments, hope can shine through. Remember that, no matter where you are." As the horizon lifted off, carrying Yunji and her crew back toward Earth, those who stayed behind watched silently. They knew their journey was far from over. Days turned into weeks, and the work continued tirelessly. Jamin delved deeper into the glowing symbols, uncovering ancient wisdom buried within the archives. He discovered blueprints for advanced technology, hints of sustainable energy sources, and warnings about the Zircon's true nature. Each revelation brought new ideas for how to protect Xylos 9 when the invaders inevitably returned. Subin and Lyra collaborated closely, creating hybrid crops capable of thriving in the toxic soil. These plants not only provided food, but also helped purify the air, slowly transforming patches of barren land into fertile ground. Their efforts inspired the Veilons to adopt Earth's agricultural techniques, blending them with their own methods to create something entirely new. Hyun-Soo, though slowed by his injuries, refused to rest. He oversaw the construction of reinforced shelters designed to withstand future attacks. Using materials salvaged from the Zircon wreckage, he built early warning systems to detect approaching ships. His innovations gave the survivors a fighting chance against whatever threats loomed ahead. Meanwhile, word of their victory spread across the stars, not just among the Veilons, but also to distant corners of space. Other alien species, hearing tales of the Deathworlders' bravery, reached out cautiously, curious about these humans who dared to stand against overwhelming odds. Slowly, alliances began to form, uniting disparate cultures under a shared goal: survival. Back on Earth, Yunji's return sparked a wave of change. Governments worldwide listened intently as she recounted the events on Xylos 9. Images of the crystalline forests, the resilient Veilons, and the teamwork between humans and aliens captivated audiences. For the first time in decades, humanity set aside its divisions to focus on a greater purpose: exploration, cooperation, and diplomacy beyond its borders. Monuments were erected to honor the sacrifices made on Xylos 9. One such monument stood tall near the center of the rebuilt Veilon settlement, inscribed with words spoken by Kale during his final moments. In unity lies strength. In compassion lies survival. Years passed, and the bond between humans and Veilons grew stronger. Jae-min became a respected scholar, teaching younger generations about the importance of understanding alien cultures. Subin and Lyra co-authored groundbreaking research on interspecies biology, paving the way for advancements in medicine and agriculture. Even Hyunsu found peace, mentoring young engineers eager to follow in his footsteps. Though the threat of the Zircons lingered like a shadow, the people of Xylos 9 faced it with unwavering resolve. They had proven that even in the face of annihilation, life could endure and thrive. Together, they forged a legacy that transcended planets, species, and time itself. And so, history was written, not just for humans or Veilons, but for all, beings brave enough to answer a cry for help. On Xylos 9, under twin suns and amid shimmering crystal trees, a new chapter began, one defined not by fear but by hope.